Everybody, I'm Julie Matheney. I'm a speech therapist and IBCLC lactation consultant, and today we are going to be talking about breastfeeding after breast cancer, and I'm going to be inviting a very special guest, Dr. Jaclyn. I'm going to see if I can get her. So that social media does what it's supposed to do today, and then it will be an easy join. Yay! Hi! How are you today?
I'm like, man, I wish I could give you a hug right now because you've been so helpful for me, but I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month,
Yeah.
which I feel is perfect timing for this. So for those followers out there, we are on the LA Lactation page. So you all know what I do as a lactation consultant. I would love for you to introduce yourself, what you do, and then tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay. I mean, I think about how much time we have, and I'll give you the down and the quick and dirty version. That way we can kind of really get into it more about breastfeeding. But my name is Jacqueline. I am one of the lead physicians here at Love Life. Love Life is a holistic health and wellness club located in El Segundo. We offer so much. We offer nourishing foods, precision medicine, wellness and recovery modalities, Eastern medicine. We offer the combination between clinicians, more than 20 plus experts working together. And we're open in El Segundo. So you can come check us out. If you want to check us out for a day tour or a day pass, and if you want to talk to our team, we are here. When I was newly coming home from the hospital, I think, Julie, you saw me at my worst. I feel like that was probably one of the toughest times just because of everything from a transition standpoint. And it was a really intimate time for me and a really sensitive one because I am a breast cancer survivor. I had cancer back in 2016. My husband found it on me while we were tickling each other and playing on the beach. And this is in my early 30s. So what was hard is I think when you're in it, you don't see the end of that light. You're not looking at what this could be in the future. And I always felt like a lot of certain dreams I had or things that I wanted to do were not going to happen anymore. And one of those happened to be being able to breastfeed my baby and being able to have a baby, but then being able to breastfeed my baby. So fast forward to now when you and I met, it was a really like special, intimate, vulnerable time. I think I even cried because I was just so overwhelmed at this idea that a breast cancer survivor could do it.
And tell us a little bit more because it wasn't just breast cancer, right? It was like full
Yes.
double mastectomy, correct?
Yes. I
As
had
in they removed all of your breast tissue.
yes, complete full double mastectomy, and part of the lymph nodes on the right side. The incisions for mine were underneath. I did have a nipple sparing double mastectomy. That was one of the first questions that you had for me was, is this nipple sparing so that we can, attempt and see if anything was possible. Even I think the OBGYNs were not sure. They were like, yeah, you could try it, but we don't know if you're going to have any sensation. Obviously, it would be up to me to attempt this to see if it was possible, but a supplemental nursing system, I never thought that this is how I could use it. I always thought about, how women could be using it if they had issues with breastfeeding. But for somebody in my case, I was like, wow, I didn't know that I could actually use that. And when you brought one over and you explained it to me, and I think even then I was still hesitant. I'm like, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable. Again, still vulnerable because of this idea of, me never being able to breastfeed again. So you helped me see that there was a possibility, and it's been awesome. The nipple sparing for me, I still have sensation in my nipples. And so, of course, this idea of my son Koa being able to breastfeed was like, holy cow, this dream that I thought was smashed dead, was never going to happen, is now happening. And I really have you to thank for all the education and guidance and support to give me the confidence to be able to do that. And it took a few different times.
When you
Yeah.
originally found me, we did a prenatal consultation, and when you told me you were a double mastectomy patient, I was like, okay, what are you here for then? And your whole
Yeah.
point of seeing me prenatally was bottle education. correct?
Yeah, yes, it was. That was the start. The start. Because I just didn't know. I'm like, oh yeah, let's learn more about the bottles, the flow, all of this, the different kinds of nipples, which ones should I buy? So it really did start there. And then it ended up being, oh, are you telling me that I can breastfeed? And you're like, yes, you can. And I'm like, no, no one ever told me this. My doctors didn't mention this. Other lactation consultants didn't tell me that this was a possibility. So it was eye opening, and I'm so thankful for you, because I think that the idea, that dream that
Yeah.
I was never going to do it versus now being able to do it, it's just like it lights me up. I think being able to do this with Koa and having this connection and still producing that oxytocin hormone to help make me also feel this feel good feeling. It's just it's not something that I never ever thought I would be able to do. Yeah.
So we'll kind of backtrack. When you saw me, Jacqueline saw me prenatally for a prenatal consultation. And typically when I do a prenatal breastfeeding consultation, I'll ask, do you have any breast surgical history? Do you have any history of nipple piercings, breast implants? And Jacqueline was like, I'm a double mastectomy patient. And I was like, interesting. You're here to see a breastfeeding consultant. And
Yeah.
she said, yeah, because I know that you do bottle feeding,
Yeah.
and I want to know all about the best bottles, because I'm not going to be breastfeeding. I'm going to be bottle feeding, but I
Yeah.
want to optimize facial shape and development. And I said, hold on. Do you have a functioning nipple still? Did they preserve your nipple?
Yeah.
And when she said yes, I was like, ah, you can breastfeed your
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
We use a supplemental nursing system. It's a little tube connected to either a syringe or a bottle.
Which I brought.
And we often, oh, look at that. Yeah, she'll show it to everybody.
Yeah.
So it looks like this. Now, this is a temporary one that we'll often use as lactation consultants when there's a tongue tie, when there's low milk supply,
Mm-hmm.
when we're trying to get a baby to latch back to breast. And I introduced it to Jacqueline by saying, you can use donor milk or
Mm-hmm.
formula and breastfeed your baby using a nipple shield if needed, and this
Mm-hmm.
tube system to be able to latch the baby. And I think it was really eye-opening and interesting for me in that consultation, because it kind of blew your box a little bit,
Right.
and you were a little shell-shocked of like, that sounds weird, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so after Koa was born, I came out and brought one. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience using that SNS
Yeah.
system?
I really like the open system compared to some of the closed ones, because the closed, and I think are the ones I purchased were from Lactation Hub, but the closed system, it was a little wonky in the sense that it was leaking, and it was hard to like tie off one of the tubes. Whereas this is so simple. It's literally just this tube, and of course the nipple shield. If you want to use it, you don't have to. You can actually you can tape it right beside, or you can use the nipple shield. And then the other end of it is into the bottle, right? And so it's easy enough, and I'm comfortable enough to the point where I can even do it myself. Like I don't have to have
Yeah.
Charles helping me. Once the milk is in here, you use a small plunger to also just go ahead and start the flow to get that flow going. And they also make different kinds of nipple shields that are different sizes based off of your nipples. So that was also helpful too, because I ended up needing one that was a little bit smaller. And that's it. That's all you need is just these few items. It's not like an entire, big orchestration to be able to do this. So,
Yeah. And so talk to us a little bit about what you're doing now for feeding your baby. Are you mostly breastfeeding with the tube system? Are you mostly bottle
yeah,
feeding? Do a kind of combination? What's been working
yeah.
for you?
Yeah, I went back to work. I don't know if I told you that, Julie, but I went back to work, and now I'm doing the combination of the two. I needed donor breast milk, which is a whole nother conversation about how difficult it is for mamas who've had a double mastectomy to get breast milk. But I originally went with using the milk bank, and then finding a reputable donor. And then, of course, really vetting the donor process, like asking her all the questions, even from a medical standpoint, even what her lifestyle and diet is like, because I know that that also affects it, if she's on any sort of supplements, if she's had any vaccinations. So those questions were all very important to me. And then having a good conversation before I chose that donor. Breast milk itself can be really expensive. So I'm so thankful that there are all these communities of women who are also willing to help support each other when it comes to donor breast milk. And that's amazing. We're still doing the combination. So when I'm home, I'm able to use the SNS. And then of course, when I'm at work, then we're using the bottle. But having like the flexibility of being able to have both opportunities is great. What I notice about myself is when I'm using the supplemental nursing system with COA, it's the way that I feel and the hormones, the way, like literally the joy that I feel, it keeps me from doing anything else. I focus on breath work. I focus on paying attention to him, and I'm not multitasking. So that is, it just is a reminder of just being grateful for those opportunities. And that happens to be one of them.
This was kind of a surprise to you that this was even possible. You tell now, obviously this was kind of a surprise to you that this was even possible. So
Yeah.
what do you want other young breast cancer survivors to know or to be aware of,
Yeah.
if they haven't had children yet?
Don't give up on your dreams. You know, really don't do it, because there is no reason to. If you see, especially now, we have so many treatments available for women who are going through cancer. And I'm not talking about just medications or medications only. I'm talking about this holistic treatment plan that doctors are now utilizing to support people on their cancer journeys. Don't give up on a dream if you think, I'm not going to have kids anymore. I'm not going to be able to breastfeed my baby. I will not have the family that I deserve. If those are your dreams, these things are and will and can still happen. You can still manifest that. I think I'm so grateful, Julie. It was such a surprise for me, but that just reiterates more for me that I should have never given up on that dream, because I spent so many hours crying while pregnant thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to offer and support this experience for my baby,
I will tell
And
you, it was
yeah.
one of probably my number one, hands down, most, I'll call it spiritual moment that I've ever had with a patient, because your
Oh,
mother and your mother-in-law were both
yes.
there the very first time your baby latched. And I
Yeah.
got in my car after that consultation and I cried,
Oh,
and I called my husband and is
oh.
like, this is why I do what I do. This is it. If you're
Yeah.
the only patient that I have ever helped in my career to have be
Yeah.
able to give that gift of that experience, it's
Yeah.
it's 100% all worth it, because it really was. It was just such a deep, powerful, empowering moment to be able to see you
Mm-hmm.
really. I mean, just you could feel palpably your hesitancy of like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is gonna work or not. And then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden it's like this light switch clicked and it's like matrescence fell upon you, right? That motherhood
Yeah.
and everything.
Oh.
It was such an
Oh.
incredible, it really was. It was
Oh.
such an incredible moment.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Julie. I completely forgot, because I was so out of it at the time, that my mom and my mother-in-law were there. And now that you mention it, you're right, they were. But I think what's also cool about that is my mom is 82. She is a three-time breast cancer
Wow.
survivor, and she currently has metastatic breast cancer that she is living with. And things are stable, things are going well for her. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to even talk with her every day, and I'll be seeing her shortly. She'll be coming to LA to spend some time with me. But I think for her, she probably would have never thought that experience, that she would be able to witness that live and see her daughter breastfeeding, given this whole experience. It kind of makes me want to go back and be like, Mom, how did you feel when you saw that? Like I never asked her. So,
I would definitely ask your family, because your whole family was really there. You could feel the love and support. And I
yeah.
forget which one of your family members said it. I almost feel like it was your mother, but her comment as I was going out the door was, this is going to be very healing for her.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I really do feel like, because cancer is, I lost my mom to cancer. She
Mm-hmm.
had brain cancer when I was pregnant with my second. And so I know how devastating cancer and cancer diagnoses can be. And
Yeah.
to be able to have a moment of healing and feeling victory over this thing that can really steal so much joy is just so important.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's the reminder to everyone out there watching. Obviously, this video will be downloaded and reposted, because it's just such an important message of, if you have had any kind of cancer, a hysterectomy, a breast cancer, but nipples intact, you have tried getting pregnant and can't get pregnant and use a surrogate or adoption, that there are these creative ways to have this breastfeeding experience.
Yes.
That, you know, even if there's not a functioning nipple, if there's some kind of tissue where we could put an SNS or with a nipple
Mm-hmm.
shield, if we can get the nipple shield onto your anatomy in some way,
Mm-hmm.
that you can still have that same type of experience, that
Mm-hmm.
bonding experience, that healing experience, to exactly like what you said, to have that dream be realized instead of
Mm-hmm.
feeling like it's been devastated.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Julie.
Is there anything else that you wanted to tell people about breast cancer or breast cancer survival? Any other tips or words of wisdom that you could give?
Yeah. There's one organization I really love. The nonprofit is called Know Your Lemons.
Mm,
They at Know Your Lemons is going to be their Instagram as well. They do such an excellent job of educating women and also helping them support. They have a really like a free app as well, but it'll teach you how to do your self breast exams. It'll give notifications. It also provides education on how to do it and breast health in terms of what are the kinds of tests that are important to get and when, what risk factors are important, et cetera. So it's a really nice educational platform. Another one that I loved was the Young Survival Coalition. So they are still wildly active and supportive of this community. So that is another one that if you have been diagnosed or you know someone and they're looking for support, their target population is women less than 40 is another one there.
cool.
And ask, right? Like I think one thing about the internet, social media, Instagram, these kinds of things, if you have questions, ask. If you want to know who to see within the network of myself or Julie or many other clinicians and healers and practitioners within this space, we do have resources. There are free resources available. There could be somebody that we know that could help support you. So feel free, send a message. I'm always available. And, Julie's also asked me a few things here and there as well. So yeah.
I think it's a good reminder too, October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, to check your breast, do your monthly
Yeah.
breast self-exam. Even if you're breastfeeding, it is still possible to get breast cancer while breastfeeding, either, before you breastfeed or during breastfeeding or after breastfeeding. So
Mm-hmm.
do those routine self-checks. It can be more difficult to determine lumps versus regular milk making tissue when you're breastfeeding. But if you do feel anything that is different or abnormal or concerning, see a qualified IBCLC lactation consultant. There are breast specialists out there that can also help determine that. And reminder, you do not have to wean to get a mammogram.
Mm-hmm.
Some mammogram techs get a little skittish and they're like deer in the headlights of, we have a lactating breast, what do we do with that? But it is absolutely possible to get a mammogram while breastfeeding if you have any concerns about changes in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And the other good reminder is for those who have not had breast cancer, who are considering breastfeeding, we do know that the longer you breastfeed, the lower your risk of breast cancer. So for every 12 months, I believe the statistic is you decrease your risk of breast cancer later on in life by 4%.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer you breastfeed, we're also helping with those tatas to make sure that we're having good breast health. Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for coming on.
Of
I
course.
really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, go follow Dr. Jaclyn Tolentino. You'll see her name. I'll put an @ so that you can go follow her. And don't hesitate to reach out to either of us if you have any questions or concerns. And if you are also a breast cancer survivor, drop a comment for us. We would love to support you in your journey post-treatment. Okay. Jacqueline, thank
Bye.
you so much for today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.